John Wick 3. So what are my thoughts? What's up, ladies and gents in Cyberland? So I'm coming back with another film review of sequel to John Wick 2, or John Wick Chapter 2. John Wick Chapter 3, or Parabellum, I believe. So, John Wick 3 literally picks up right after Part 2. There's no day, there's no week, there's no couple months or anything. It's literally right after Part 2 ends, Part 3 starts. And John Wick is trying to get the hell out of the damn city because of the events of what he did in Part 2. He is now a wanted man for, I think the bounty's $10 million, if I'm not mistaken, or it was a little more. And every assassin knows who John Wick is. They know his reputation. And I don't think it's just the money at that point. I think it's also the reputation that I killed John Wick. You know, so everybody that wants to try him is trying him. And of course, we see more of the organization, how they run things, and their attitude towards certain things. Once somebody's been decommissioned, once somebody has been kicked out of the organization, that they cannot be tolerated, they have to be executed. They hold things to the T. There's a part where John Wick gets stabbed and then has to get stitched up. And the guy, he was also in the first one, he stitches him up, but he's rushing to get it done because the time's about to run out, and as soon as the time runs out, he can't do anything. Like, he literally stops. Even though nobody can see them, it's just the fact of he holds the standard to the T that he when he was helping John Wick, he literally stops right when the clock stops. Like, the time's up, like, now you're officially off the books, you're going to be hunted. And what's crazy is John Wick finishes up what he needs to do, but then John tells the doctor, thank you, but the doctor says, you got to shoot me because if you don't, they're never going to believe that I didn't help you. And I'm just like, wow, like, seriously? Like, you guys are that ruthless to where, you know, he helped before the clock, and they'll still execute him even if he stopped right at the clock because he had a window. He had an hour window from Winston. So John gets out of there, and then all of a sudden we see this lady who, she was interesting. I'm kind of curious to see what they do with her. I forget her name, but she had very short hair, and she's now going around pretty much going after people from the second film, whether they did what they were supposed to in regards to the high table. Did they follow orders, or did they follow the rules and regulations, or they did not? So we see Winston, of course, is being badmouthed, and they're gonna, you know, he's about to get kicked out of out of the Continental. On top of that, Lawrence Fishburne returns. Almost every character from the other films returned for the most part, except John Leguizamo. And I'm hopefully, when they make a fourth film, yes, they are making a fourth and fifth film. They're filming them back to back. Hopefully he returns because I enjoy him too. I thought he was a good character for what he encompassed. So that'd be great to see. And you know, John eventually gets out of town, and Angelica Houston, the great Angelica Houston, she was in there too. And then we get some more backstory of who John Wick is and where he comes from and how did he learn his element stuff. And that's the one thing I like about these films is every time one comes out, it's like an onion. Like when the film first starts in the first one, we have an onion, and gradually through the film, and that's one thing I really like about the story writers and the directing and with Keanu Reeves and what they're doing, is they keep peeling back the onion. You know, they keep peeling layers off the onion every film to where you're getting more and more things about either the world of John Wick, what he was a part of, or just more about him or about people that he's helped. You know, you just keep getting layers back. And it is interesting to see that you keep finding out stuff. I think I think the only thing they could do to mess up John Wick is to say he has a kid somewhere. I really would hope that they don't do that. And the only reason why I would say is because, like, John comes off like somebody, especially from the first film, that he wasn't one to... I don't think he came off like one to be a ladies' man, like he was with multiple women. I think maybe he had one woman in his life, but outside of his wife. But who knows? Maybe they could go there. I don't know. Maybe a little too cliche to do that. Like, oh, okay, we've done everything. Let's say he has a kid. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Overall, the film, I would give it a 4.5. 4.5 out of 5 yes sirs. I would almost give it a 5, but I don't feel like it was just as good as 1. I liked it as much as 1. And I felt it was better than 3. And the only reason why is because I did not like the villain in 2. Pompous, just asshole. Like, you know, you like certain villains where you're like, they're interesting and I can see where they're coming from. But this dude, and it's not the actor. The actor was a fine actor. He did his job. I just hated his character. Like, there was no redeeming quality about him to me at all. From what I felt about how he acted, he was pompous, he was spoiled, arrogant, selfish, and he just didn't exhibit any qualities to where, you know, his behavior was just despicable. And what led up to his demise was like, I could see anybody doing the same thing, just because it wasn't the fact that what he did, was just when he was sitting there eating, and his arrogance was just like, nothing's going to happen to me, you know, kind of thing. I'm in the Continental, you can't touch me. And it's like, oh yeah? Bang! I touched you. I think that was one of my favorite scenes of the second film because of his behavior. But the villain in here, there really was no villain. It was, I mean, maybe the lady spokesperson for the high table. But to me, this film, there really wasn't a villain. It was just people trying to get John. And I think that was interesting to incorporate, to be like, we're not really going to have a villain, we're just going to have elements of different people. So I hope when the 4th one comes out and the 5th one, I don't know how many they're going to make. I think probably, I'd say 3 more. But I hope at one point you keep pulling back the layers of everything and you get to see who is actually the one that controls everything at the high table, or who were the 4 or 5 people, or the 10 people, whatever, how many people can sit at the high table, you know? I would really like to see that. Halle Berry. Halle Berry was cool. I really enjoyed her too in the film. I liked that they show that there are females in here that can get down just like the men can, because the first film, we had somebody, you know what happened to her. Second film, they had somebody, but she was okay. But when you saw Halle Berry maneuver when they were having the shootout, him and her, I really like they didn't focus too much on him. I really like they really focused on what she was doing and how she was maneuvering with the people trying to kill him and stuff. I felt that was really cool, because we already know, okay, we have the first film with John Wick. We already have the second film with John Wick. Third film, okay, you're just going to show the shooting scenes with him, or you're going to have other characters there and show what they can do. And I really like that. And especially with gosh, I forget his name, but he's pretty much Winston's second man, like his right-hand man at the Continental. But I forget his name. He's a black guy, wear glasses, bald head. I wish I knew his name, but at this moment, but I just forget it. But he was great, too. It was lovely to see him do some work, too, put some work in. So, yeah. That being said, if you liked 1, if you liked 2, watch 3. Some people have said 3 is mostly just action and there's not a lot of story. Honestly, I felt that at this point, it was better for them to take a break from story and just say, look, this is what it's about. There's not much else to it for right now. Let's just do this and do it. And then make the next film, the way the third film ends with Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves, let's make the next film where you have an integral process. You have, a story to where you go from point A to point B to C, D, E, F. Whereas this film, look, action, just trying to do this and that's it. It really shouldn't have been more than that. Whereas the first 2 films, I felt there was more of that. But this film didn't really need to have setups, especially the way it ended. It really didn't need to have setups. I just hope they don't do that for the next film. I just hope they, we took a break from setups like the first two. The third film was this way for a reason. Moving forward, we're going to kind of incorporate more of the way the first and second film was done. I would appreciate that. So we'll see, because with everything going on, apparently they're not going to start filming until 22? Maybe next year, but I think 22. And again, it's going to be back-to-back. So I anticipate John Wick, the next two films is going to be a split film. So pretty much one big film cut into two parts. So, but of course it'll be chapter 4, chapter 5 kind of thing. So we'll see. With that being said, take care.